Hello and welcome back. I want to say Thursday. You figure I'll probably check this stuff in the morning. I mean, it's not difficult. There's 7 days, and the next day, right, eliminates the day before. It's one of those days that ends in Y. 9 o'clock, sales video. Not a whole lot to go over for sales wise. It's enough for video. Even if I take out the still pending $11 DVD from yesterday, of which I can't find. Um, I looked at the other DVDs that were of the like and kind that I got that were listed and sold. They were like an inmade belly dance type DVDs, and I had four of them. So I went back in my solds and I typed in the search bar for the item title. I think it was just dance. And then I typed in belly and inmate and the actual title of the DVD that needs to go out. And I couldn't find it anywhere 90 days or this year or last year for that matter. And any of the other ones that, just to make sure that it didn't already sell and somehow or another it was a duplicate listing. And I looked in at all of those different ones that were in that same batch of DVDs that I got, and I looked to see which boxes those ones were in. So I looked in those corresponding boxes, even though yesterday I went through all the boxes, readjusted. If you look at the community post, those 11, 12 DVDs were ones that were in these boxes that were not listed. Again, that's why I do it. The CDs, I found two, and I still have the other two boxes to go through, and that takes no time, maybe 10 minutes to go through those. So that's at least good on the CD front. And then there's the Blu-rays and VHS and the DVD sets and stuff. That's on a whole other shelving unit. And I'll just pull up a chair to those and go through those and find out which ones are not listed anymore. Because most of the time with those, I have so few of them, 40 VHS per se. And if one does permanently come down, I'm not worried about taking that one out because they're not taking up that much room. So I just couldn't find it. So I was like, well, I know I sold a DVD lot, two last year. I think one this year. But either way, I typed in the DVD lot and I went and I looked at least the thumbnail because I can't get in the listing and look at more pictures. And I didn't see, at least in the thumbnail picture, the title I was looking for. So I have no idea what happened to it. Slightest idea. So I did message the buyer yesterday. He's like, hey, I got a couple more places I can look. And haven't heard back. And if nothing, it's supposed to be shipped by today. So by the end of day or by the time I go to bed, if I can't find it or they don't respond, I'll just cancel the order. That's few. That's very few and far between if that happens. So out of that, I get and this is where I will opine. This is where I will explain a little by basis of a comment, which I eventually just hid the user, blocked the user from the channel. Came in with, they came in like a wrecking ball. They thought they came in like a wrecking ball, but they left like a deflated Timu beach ball. You know, it's just, why are you going to come in here, this channel where disrespecting people is not the norm? You can kind of try to bash me, but when I can provide the evidence that you have to look up about my store, about sales, you can look at videos, you can look at the end, and they just never did. Just never looked at any of it, and just going off of their own little screens, their own little and comments. So the first, and it's going to bother me. The first part is I get a comment stating that my system sucks. No, that's completely subjective. Their statement is, or was, oh, you got to spend, all day going through each box just to find the stuff that you need. Literally, if I needed whatever, it's kind of unfair now because, I could see these ones. How long does it take for me to go through and read the title of 20 things for me to find out which one I need when I can do it just by a quick eyeball glance? It's not all day. It's far from it. Sometimes something my eyes may not catch and I have to spend 15 seconds in a box. Sometimes a little longer for CDs, 30 seconds. But for the most part, I look at the boxes enough, each of those 15, 30 seconds each time, or being on where I know it's a newer item, so it's going to be where it's supposed to be, a first in, first out theory like they do in restaurants. There is a basic organization to it. It's not the best. I don't need it to be much better because I still have the time in the day to do things. The other part of the comment is that these plastic shelves, and these ones here, they're going to collapse under all the weight. What? So each of the, actually, let me do this. All right, that one's full. That way, that way. This is fun to do stuff like this, vilify people. 5 pounds. 5 pounds with the box. 5.2 with the box. 30 pounds. Almost 31 per shelf. Each shelf is rated for 600 pounds. CDs still probably hold a couple more in there. Almost, 9 pounds, 9 ounce. 6 on that. 36, 37 pounds. 38, we'll go 40. But it's going to collapse under its weight, under all that weight. Books by average would be probably 20, 25 pounds a box. And even if I had 6 on there, that's 130, 140, 150 max. But they're going to collapse under the weight that each shelf is rated for 600 pounds. And when manufacturers do that, that's going to be a lower cushion. So that's going to be a higher amount, and you could still go way higher than that. Kind of like the theory behind building and using a capacitor in electronics. Let's just say that you have this exact amount of voltage that goes through your circuit. You don't make your capacitor be exactly that voltage. By rule of thumb, it's usually 1.3 more than what that voltage is. So if it's going to be 100 volts, that's a big capacitor. If it's 1 volt, you're going to make it be 1.3 volts, or 1.5 would be better. So these shelves are probably more absolutely technically rated for 1,000 pounds each shelf. That's a lot of weight for them, but that's right. So that's where I started to laugh right there. So I kind of pointed that out in the comment from there, and then I asked at the bottom, hey, what's your online selling experience? What's your store? If you want to try to critique someone else's, let's find out about yours. absolutely no response, and it comes back with um, a non sequitur to the initial comments. So it's like, so the sky is blue. Let's go out and go paint. Let's paint our walls today. Those two, they don't follow, right? So that's non sequitur. They don't follow. Or it does not. There's no sequence. And then wake up and look at the comment they left back, and the only thing they could come up with is you're netting like $25 an hour. Has nothing to do with that. 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 It just goes straight to that. I'm not here to vilify anyone and their process and what they choose to do. And I will say it, I'm not even going to put in the proper adjective. There are people who do not produce the amount of sales I do. If you're only selling on eBay, there's people that do not do the amount that I do. And then there's people that sell 10 times the amount in dollar amount that I do. I went from easily over 100K a year job to not wanting to do that anymore based off of the 20 plus years of selling and then getting into physical media 3 years ago and realizing on how easy physical media is, how non-bodily taxing it is, how non-mentally taxing it is, how non-stressful it is, as opposed to other categories for that matter, having to deal with returns all the time and all that other stuff, all the extra measurements and all the extra testing and all the extra worries. Physical media, to me, my experience, my time has taken away from, has taken those issues out. I had a return of a portable CD player. I don't know if it's in the sourcing video or not. I had a return. Guy said that it stopped working, and when I get it back, it smells very heavily burnt electronics, especially where the AC port is. So I'm going to best guess what happened with that specific one. They put in an AC port or an AC adapter that was too strong for it, fried the electronics. So in the pictures that I have, or the video I think was in the listing, at least I know pictures, that you could see that the disc was spinning and it had a set of numbers, whatever the numbers were, and then the next picture, the numbers were different. That there was a different track, different numbers. So I know it was working, and then when I got it back, it's reading ER, error, error. And then as it's powered on by batteries is when that smell starts to come out more. I had to deal with that, right? So that wasn't much. You got 50% refund for sending something back that was broken. What I make on it after refund probably broke even, right? So that'll go in an electronic slot when I decide to do that. I think I'm getting a little too far into this. However, the bigger part on why most people not only own their own business or do their operations and make income for themselves and not work for someone else is probably just the freedom. Your freedom's in your mind. That was Many Worlds by Janelle Monáe. Yeah. But it's the freedom of being able to do what you want to do on your own time. And what I do for resale wise, my time, if I didn't make videos and if all I did was wake up, package, either do self-similars, go out and buy stuff, come back, get pictures and list, I would probably put in, depending if I stayed local or otherwise, 4 to 6 hours a day. Even if I did that 7 days a week, but still under 30 to under 40. Right around there. The commenter, like I said, who's now just blocked from the channel because I don't want negativity in the channel. If you want to critique things, fine, but if you want to start being negative about things, that's when you'll get just blocked. So to do something in part-time and not spend a lot of time and effort and energy on something that's still in its current form, I get on average over $1,000 a week payout, and that payout is going to not it's payout after all eBay fees and all shipping. $1,000 a week payout for not even 30 hours a week. That's not too bad. Then the hourly that breaks down. I really don't do things in the hourly. Same thing as I don't talk about sell-through rate. I talk about sales history. I'm not buying this stuff to make sure. Oh, and then the other thing they brought up is scalable. And I asked for them to describe what scalable means. And they're like, haha, I know what it means. Describe what it means. Scalable in all sense. And maybe this is just the advantage of being, having a further education and decades of experience in understanding these terms. Scalable. The easiest way on how to describe scalable is that's why it's called scalable. All right. So if you buy an item for $1 and you sell it for $2, that scale is 1 to 1. You buy it for 1, you make 1. Okay. Scaling would be you buy it for $1, sells for 10. That's a 10 scale. Now, is that going to apply to every single thing out there? No. Scaling in business is your least amount of expenses of what the gross amount is going to be. That's scaling. That's it. Absolutely it in scaling. If someone wants to describe it anymore, they're going way too crazy. A scale. Okay. So we have a 1-1 scale. If someone wanted to build a figure of me, it'd be a 6-4 figure. That'd be a 1-to-1 scale. If you build models and it's 1/32 scale, that means that it's 32 times less than the actual size of what it is. That's what scaling is. That's what scalable means. How scalable is what you're buying and all of the costs associated with that purchase to the total gross of what that all that incorporated cost translates to. So if you buy something for $1 and you have $5 wrapped up into it and you sell it for $2, that's not scaling the right way. If you have $5 completely wrapped up into something, we're talking time and all these other micro aspects, and you sell it for 10, now you're down to 1 to 2. These are not too difficult of things to describe. And that's why in my videos, I give a small tidbit here and there based off of my experience. No, my degree is not in business. It's not in marketing. It's not in mathematics, although I did start off in physics at Kent State, but that math started to get a little too much. After a while, in order to make a business work for you, however you want to, you could do it probably off of a couple things. One, absolute interest. What do you like to get your hands in? Do you like to get your hands in video games? And that's what you're going to focus on. Do you like to get your hands in vintage clothing or car parts or bigger electronics or smaller electronics or Nemco and Precious Moments figurines. Is that the stuff that you like? That's one aspect to go at it. Another aspect is you can go by volume. Do you want to put in 50, 60, 70 hours a week in just getting pictures and listing, getting pictures, listing? There's different mediums, different platforms that you could do that make that process a lot easier. And you can also get into things that make sense on the scalable end. And with physical media, that typically falls into it's cheap to buy. By average, I mean, my cost of goods average, I don't know. I'd have to look up spreadsheet for last year, but I still don't even do a spreadsheet like that. I will just have to go in what all of my inventory receipts are, but I still don't have in there what I bought total. It's just the total amount that I paid. And that's just a money spent, money out, money in. That's one way how to do your taxes for that. You don't have to do itemized. Believe me, you don't have to do itemized unless you're doing like millions a year. You do not have to do absolute itemized to where you have to count for every penny. I would say $1.50 average. My average sale was a little over $30. That's the scaling. That's when people say, "Oh, it's a 1 to 10." I'm paying $1. It's got to sell for at least 10. I'm paying 2. It's got to sell for at least 20. At some point, you're gonna be like, "I'm paying 2. If it sells for 15, that's fine." But if you go by that general scale rule, it's going to benefit you that way, as opposed to I'm paying $1. It sells for $1. I'm going to make negative money, which is not what you want to do. Further, if I need any sort of explanation or understanding of, I'm just going to stop that one right there. All right, so this is already way too long in explaining that, but it just goes to show that regardless on how you want to help other people, I'm at no point saying I'm an expert. I've just been at it for enough time. And as I've said before, I think it was just in the other video, something about skill, ability, and talent. Actually, it's ability, skill, and talent. Those are different things. So when someone comes in and makes a comment, or either complete verbal in person or in here or whichever, and I know that there's not much of any logic behind that, because I know that these shelves are not going to collapse under the weight of 50 pounds on a shelf that'll withstand 600 plus pounds. I know that. Well, it's not scalable. What do you mean it's not scalable? Explain that. Well, I know it's scalable because I know what the theory of scalable means in business. So that is a negative approach. This channel, very, very, very few times are there anything negative that I say in it. This channel is not about negativity. This channel is not about fabricating stories. This channel is about taking the decades of experience I have of selling, and also applying the past 3.5 years of selling physical media and the entire principle behind it. Like I say all the time, it's everywhere. You don't have to fret about all kinds of stuff. It's easy to picture. It's real easy to ship. You can find really, really good gems, all that stuff. And comparing to other types of categories and other types of platforms. So I want to share that with you, my audience. Now, whoever sees this video now, and speaking of seeing videos, I have one that I posted I think it was July 7th. I'll drop a screenshot on how many views it's got, which is phenomenal, the amount. For basis of the average of what most of my videos get, which can vary anywhere from just under 100 to maybe 200 by the time I post another video. This one's got over 500, maybe close to 6. I don't know, but It's phenomenal. And I don't. It's not even a special video by any means. It's not a high dollar amount. It doesn't have anything extra special in the title, and it's still generating 40, 50, 60 views a day, which is really weird. Aside of that, it's just the point that I want people to be able to pick up on, not learn. I'm not an expert. These are just things that I have attenuated enough to where I found it enough. The cup was full enough of information that I gathered that I believed at the point 6 months ago that I could make a YouTube channel and I could express some of my knowledge that I picked up on to the masses of the world. And if people want to pick up on that, cool. You want to come here and start being negative, get the fuck out. Speaking of getting out, let's find out what's sold. This Chain of Desire VHS. It is I want to say it's a screener. No, maybe not. So it is sealed. There's a watermark for it. I would have wrote that. Oh yeah, there is a watermark. 26. Hiromi Trio Project DVD 20. Here's one of the PS2 games, which I sold one already. I don't remember which one it was, like a $40 one. Maybe it was a little more than that. I don't remember which one it was. Scarface, Black Label. It's not a greatest hits. So this one may have been listed as like new because of the condition. I wrote in there that the caseware and stuff, because video game collectors are they're more finicky than others, which is fine. 75. And as you can see, I managed to clean the price tag up. Peter Frampton Acoustics, gatefold CD, 35. And this book, which was kind of shown in my 1 hour explaining video a couple days ago, a visual texture, right? So this, 43. So if I take out that $11 DVD, it's still a little over $200, 207, 208 out of then 5 items. So that's pretty good. Aside of the little diatribe, the little verbal screed, whatever adjective you want to use of what I described for basically 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes. If you learn anything from that, let me know in comments. What you picked up on that. I mean, I could be angry about it. I'm not. I was more laughing on, hey, here are some questions for you. I never got a response to any of the questions. It was just a response that had something to do with nothing of the rest of what the initial comment was or what my reply was. So I was more laughing, like, why can't you just answer the simple question? So if you learn anything from what I said, cool. Like what you heard, like what you saw, like what you learned, thummy thingy, comment, sub share, those are all free. Appreciate it. Thanks around. Yep. Thanks for sticking around and listening to all that. If you did. Happy hunting.